Hi everyone, I'm just at Castle Coombe 2023 and I'm just going to be walking around this absolutely fantastic event. But today I'm going to be talking about buying an alphard, where you're buying it from. So this event here is held at Castle Coombe. It's hosted by Uk.Cars, which is a company down south that imports and brings the cars into the country, converts them into camper vans, etc., and sells them on. Good reputation and certainly worthwhile visit. But they're hosting this event and they put a lot of work into it, and it's quite late in the evening. We've had a lot of showers, etc., but so we've lost quite a few vehicles which have to go home a little bit earlier. But this is what we've got just now, and one of the fantastic show cars today, which came one top 50 in this huge event, as you can see, was the Vibe car, and there'll be a video on that as well coming up, so do have a look at that one. It's quite an amazing car. So with if you're looking at buying a Total Alphard, then it's just every single one is different. So don't go see one, go see many of them. But a couple of questions you should be asking yourself is, what's your intention? Why? What do you plan to do with the car? And if you're just buying a van originally and you're looking to convert it into a camper van, then you've really got to take into consideration whether you want to have your car already lowered, because the sheer weight of the camper van will just make it very difficult to clear ground clearance within camper sites, etc. So that's just a small little thing. When you get the vehicles imported, first thing, you should really just choose who you're buying from first. It's always best to buy, if you can buy from a dealer. These are Japanese imported cars, so you want a degree of security. You don't want to be finding yourself with a host of inherited problems because the person you bought from didn't actually disclose all the information they're selling your car. What I always say is buy the dealer instead of the car. Buy the dealer, because a good dealer will look after you. They will take care of you. So you can tell a good dealer only, not when you've got no problems, but when you've got problems, how they deal with them. So that would be the first thing I would say. Buy the dealer, ask who the dealers are. If somebody says to you, this guy is really good, I've had no problems, then that's not ideal. You want to find somebody who's had problems and see how the dealer sorted it out, whether they took responsibility, whether they dealt with it quickly, appropriately, fixed the problem. If you had a second problem, do they deal with it? You will get problems with these cars. That's just going to happen because they're imported through, and that means that there isn't that long-term history. The dealer doesn't have that long-term history. You can't trust the history on these vehicles unless you do this CAVX report. Now the CAVX report's about £27. Your dealer may have one, but I have seen dealers faking CAVX reports as well, so it's worthwhile getting a CAVX report. And that's like the government certificate. It's like the MOT certificate here. It will give you the mileage, damage, etc. on it. So that's what you want to do. You want to apply for one of those. They've also got a second one, which is called the Uk.The certificate, which gives the last recorded mileage in Japan. Now that's to some degree is good, but if you've got a dodgy dealer in Japan who's clocked back that mileage, then the Uk.The certificate is not going to help you. But the CAVX and Uk.The, that's actually a good investment for the £27. So that will give you a fantastic selling point of the car as well, if you have that available. Of course, if you're buying it second hand again, and somebody who's already got the CAVX report, then do make your own one, because as I said, people will doctor them. The other thing is gradings of the cars. You've got different types of grades, but again, the grades are subjective there. It all depends on the day, how the person is feeling, what kind of car they graded before. So you've got two white Alphards here. Let's just say one is slightly better than the other, very, very slightly. One might get a grade 3, one might get a grade 4. So again, bear in mind it's subjective. Again, all these subjective things are open to malpractice, fraud, whatever you want to call them. So be very careful when you're choosing your certificates. You've really got to see the vehicle, and that's why it's often best to have a vehicle which you can actually see in the flesh. So there's lots of dealers out there. You'll find these, some are just single cars, some have taken it in part exchange. My advice would be always to get a dealer who's got a whole bunch of these. They've got experience in them. They've been importing them for many years, and they've got a whole variety of them. Because if they haven't got one for you, then you just move into the next one, have a look at another one. Okay, but that would be my advice. Also, if they've got a garage just working on their vehicles, a great idea, because you've got the same person doing consistently the same problems. You find with these kind of imported vehicles, once you've done it once, you get better at doing it. So if you've got a whole series of these vehicles that are being repaired, you get very good at fixing them. You also get very good at knowing which parts are reliable and which parts aren't. So the Toyotas themselves are very reliable. Once you start adding on non-Toyota parts, reliability decreases. However, saying that, you'll notice that you've got wheels here which are Toyota wheels, and you've got various other types of alloys as well, because these cars in Japan are heavily customized because they're an expression of the person's personality. So they do that a lot. But the thing is, you've got to bear in mind that when you're lowering cars, Japan has got these super smooth roads, and when you're lowering the cars right down to the ground, they don't really suit the UK roads. Now, I find that 18-inch tyres, 17-inch tyres are acceptable. 19, 20, 22, and you've got potholes in the roads, you may be having difficulties. When you get these heavily modified cars, these are used in the UK, that you may find that it puts the pressure on suspension, etc. Not necessarily so, but just be prepared to have little problems with the suspensions, etc. If they are doing that kind of modifications. One thing to also look for is on these vehicles is damage in the front of the vehicles, different grills, etc. Different grills again can be an expression of individuals, but it can also be an indication of damage to the front. Imported cars, as I said, you might find it more difficult to get a proper history. Often that's one of the new acre cars. Just now that Sylvan is another one with a pop top in the back there. So other thing I said, when you're looking at camper vans, also be aware that when you're pricing them up, that some places will not actually put the VAT right until the last moment. So if you budgeted for, let's say, 30,000, and then you find out it's coming 20% more, 36,000, then that's actually a concern. You know, that's going to cause a few issues when it comes to. Just make sure that they're not charging the VAT as well. Another reason why you should really be buying from somebody who's actually working on the Toyotas constantly is their level of experience and their investment in the diagnostic systems. So a lot of these smaller garages will not have Toyota diagnostic level equipment, and that can be a bit of an issue if you have a problem, because the diagnostic system allows you to drill right down. And again, if you're buying from a dealer and you have a problem, maybe 2 years on, etc., they're probably more inclined to help you if you've actually purchased from them themselves. So, clocked cars now. Are these cars ever clocked? Well, in reality, yes, these cars are capable of doing 300,000 miles without actually showing much wear. So it's not a surprise that clockers in the UK would just wind these ones back, because who's going to come and check to see if they've been clocked, etc. They will be clocked. A lot of them will be clocked by unscrupulous dealers, and they'll be passed on and hoping that you'll forget. But when you come to sell, somebody's going to point it out. There's a potential that you will not get the price. These cars, as I said, can do a lot of miles. That one there, which is my one, has done 200,000 on the clock just now, probably about 160,000 miles once you take it across the kilometers in Japan. But that, as I said, it hides it really, really well. So you won't get the wear and tear that you normally see on the seats on many other brands. They'll just look as if they look at almost as they've done half the mileage. So again, be very careful. People will clock them, and a lot of the cars are clocked. You'll still get a great car, right? But you've just overpaid for the car. So that's always an issue as well. So overclock cars, also the ability to actually send the car back if you're not happy with the car. and on a scrupulous deal, they may try to pressurize you into keeping it, which is not ideal. Other things that I've seen as well is cheap Chinese components used just to get the cars off the forecourts. You don't want to be doing that because they'll just be back in your direction again. You know, maybe a year on, 2 years on. So that's why if you're buying Toyota reliability. So do take a moment to actually look at the. Do take a moment. There we go. A bit of So do take a moment to look at some of the components. Make sure they are genuine Toyota components. The more non-Toyota components you put in, which are essential, then the more likely you are to have problems. But do expect the Japanese to really modify the interiors, because that's what they do. They like to actually just customize these vehicles. So yeah, looking through, so here we go. So just have a look around there. So the other thing to remember is, if you're buying heavily customized cars, you've got customized suspensions, you're going to find it very difficult to find those similar kind of springs, etc. So be prepared again for, if you love the car that much, but be prepared to replace components like that in groups of 4 in the case of springs for suspensions. Again, you know, suspensions last a long time, so don't be put off by that. A lot of these will be Japanese quality suspensions, etc. They're not going to snap, but good brands really does make a difference. So good quality brands do make a difference when you come to that. So that's a number of things that I would mention to you. Is just always look with keep your eyes wide open and choose with your brain, not your heart, because there's always a Toyota. There's always a Toyota alphard which is going to suit you better. You know, there's never that one which you have to have. So take your time, look at all the different. Come to car shows like this. The Castle Combe car show is the one to go to because it's just there were 80 cars here today. You've seen the tail end of it, and you've seen these gaps where vehicles have left. But do come to the Toyota alphard car show in Castle Combe. There's a lot of them organised. That's another beauty of this particular vehicle, is the community is very strong. You know, it's very similar to like the community you get in Land Rover and other and Bongos, etc. People in Volkswagens. There's a tight community. People love these. You know, I hope that's useful to you. As I said, this one was sponsored by Uk.The cars. If you want to find out more details about the Castle Combe, Uk.The cars are there.